Wow.
That's a beauty. So this might not be the most traditional lever gun,
But this one is.
Gavin Gee here from UltimateReloader.com. I'm back with Guy Miner. Thank you for joining us, Guy.
Of course.
Guy is pretty much my lever gun partner in crime. And we just said this is like real traditional. It's actually not Henry's most traditional. This is the big boy, all-weather, side gate in 38-357. This thing is cool.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I'm looking forward to getting some rounds to it.
Yes. We've had so much fun with our X model in 3030. We've done subsonic, supersonic, ballistics gel. We've done reflex sight. We've done scope. We've done iron sights. This thing is definitely a team favorite. Anytime someone comes to visit Ultimate Reloader, I take them out to shoot subsonic with it. It's just so, so cool. But what we've got here is a great complement to that. Here's what I'm thinking for this video. We're going to get it out of the box. We're going to cover all the specs, the feeds, the speeds, and the features. We're going to put it on the trigger scan. We're going to look down the bore with the bore scope. We're going to do some 50-yard shooting. We're going to shoot it over the chronograph. I think we should compare it Revolver versus this guy.
That could be real interesting.
Yeah.
6-inch revolver versus 20-inch carbine.
Exactly. We've got HammerDown ammo from Federal Premium. Federal worked with Henry Repeating Arms to develop the most awesome 357 mag ammo. It's safe in a tubular magazine. It is optimized around expansion and weight retention. So we might have to do a follow-on story and see how that is going to do, like in the ballistics
Some
gel.
ballistics gel. Sounds good.
Okay, so we got a lot to cover in this video. Why don't you do the honors? Let's see what's in the box.
Alrighty. Wow.
That's a beauty.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
That's awesome. Well, what we've got here is just the basics. Obviously, we have the rifle, which is beautiful.
It's nice.
Yes.
Very impressed.
I love the dark wood with the dark gray finish. And this nickel chrome finish on there is just gorgeous. The complement that they have to each other.
It looks good. I like the wood to metal fit is pretty darn nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep, and it came well protected. You know, obviously you've got the cardboard box. It was in a plastic bag, but under that we had this sock. This is like you know, Polartec or something similar, so that the hammer didn't break through and, you know, puncture the packing materials and cause other problems.
Nicely packaged without going way overboard or something, but
Yep.
yeah.
Yep, and I love the inspect for ammunition first, which I saw you do very first thing.
Yep.
Yep, good to go.
I mean, you know, I trust Henry, but I haven't looked in there. I don't know if there's a cartridge in there or not.
Exactly. Yep. And then we've got, you know, the owner's manual and some other printed materials there. So that's what was in the box, and we're just going to run through some of the specs that you're going to find on the Henry Repeating Arms product page for this. So obviously it's a lever action. It'll take 357 Magnum or 38 special ammunition. The capacity in the tubular magazine is 10 rounds. MSRP is $11.98. Hopefully you'll find that somewhere for under that, like we typically hope.
Yeah, usually.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, 20-inch barrel. Mm-hmm. It's got the hard chrome plated steel. It's just a really nice satiny look to it, I think.
It is. It should be pretty darn non-reflective, which would be nice in a hunting situation. Mm-hmm. You know, get that bright glare bouncing off it.
True. Good point. Yep. Overall length is 37.5 inches. Weight is 7 pounds. It's a nice weight, I think.
It is. I picked it up. I said, well, it's not flimsy light, but it's a gun you could carry all day, no problem.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We've got the fully adjustable rear sight, the brass bead front sight, which we're going to use for this video. We have a scope rail that we're going to throw on there. Look for that in some of the future videos. But we thought, why not just do straight up, right?
Yeah, take it the way it got delivered. And it's awfully fun to shoot a lever action with iron sights anyway.
Yep. We did that with the Henry before we started to mount optics on it. And this is going to take the same type of scope rail, which is the BB-RSM. Stained hardwood, black solid rubber butt pad. Looks like this is going to last really well. And we don't need a whole lot of recoil abatement with 357 Magnum. It's not a Weatherby. Right?
No, but I think it'll be nice too. There's nothing wrong with having a nice cushy recoil pad on the back end of one. And it's 7 pounds, and I don't think we have any. We're going to start with those 357s, aren't we?
Yeah,
that'll be nice.
Absolutely.
That'll be nice. Yeah.
We've got the transfer bar safety, which is really nice, obviously. This integrated swivel stud on the front band here on the fore end is nice, and then we've got a rear swivel stud, so we're ready for our sling. Henry says this is best for target hunting and even large game, so that's an interesting thought.
Well, with that HammerDown ammo, that's a 170 grain bullet.
170, yeah.
And that's pretty good thump. Yeah, I'd hunt deer with that.
Yeah, mule deer or whitetail, something like that. And of course, this has the side gate, which Henry, listening to their audience, added that a little bit later in their lineage. Really, really nice package. If you want a 38 357, and there's other chamberings as well, this seems like a really solid option. I think what we should do is we should pack this up, take it up to the ridge line, and use our 50-yard range to check our sight in and see what it'll do.
Sounds good to me.
Let's do it. Which spot are you going for?
A left-hand target.
Okay. Low and to the right, but it looks like those last 2 shots might have stacked.
Nice.
Well, that was fun. We took the big boy up to the ridgeline range. Why? Because I have a 50-yard target backstop up there and a nice concrete bench, with those sandbags, gave us a nice stable platform to shoot from. But we had a little trouble seeing the targets because, I'm in my head, my precision rifle, 100-yard head. I say, hey, should we put 5 target spots on a page?
I said, no. One, we're just going to try to hit the paper at first.
So at one point, I'm circling the target dot with a giant Sharpie circle, just trying to see, what we're doing, which is, it's kind of funny. Normally, your target's going to be a lot larger than that and a lot more obvious than that. Of course, we'll see that when we get down to shoot steel. But really good first impressions. Nice, slick trigger.
Yes, yeah, it handled beautifully, very, very little recoil, and those are 170 grain full bore 357 Magnum loads.
Yeah, actually you have to remember that's like the weight of a 308 projectile, approximately.
Obviously going a lot slower.
Sure.
But still, it's a pretty big bullet.
Yep. Yep, and we have this adjustable rear sight. We kind of got that, we split the difference between 2 different notches on there to get where we needed, with the shots landing a little high at 50, which should be pretty decent for 100 if we wanted to go out to that.
I think so.
Yeah.
We'll use some bigger bullseyes that we can see easier.
Yeah, and like I said, in the follow-up story, we're going to put an optic on this. I think I'm going to use something like a 1:6 scope at 50 yards, and that'll give us a much better idea of what kind of accuracy this thing is capable of.
I think it's pretty good because you had a couple of shots that stacked right in there on top of each other. I had a couple of shots that stacked right in there on top of each other. It's like, okay, and we're just getting used to the sights and the rifle and the ammo and.
Iron sights is a whole different game. That's funny.
It's a fun game.
And as you can see here, we have it on the Trigger Scan TS11 from Dvorak Instruments. This is the world's best trigger profiling instrument. This is going to give us a force distance plot, which you can see right here. And it was funny. We had the X model up on the Trigger Scan to do some testing and comparison. Almost the same exact profile in terms of the peak force, in terms of like the shape of the graph. And what we got, we just did 3 successive passes in a row. You can see here those lines stacked nicely on the chart. And that netted out a peak force of 4.11 pounds average. And the travel to actuate and over travel, I don't know what the deal is here. This was super consistent, like within 1,000th of an inch for all of these measurements, within 1,000th on the travel to actuate and the over travel respectively. Obviously those are different measurements. So we had 30 thousandths travel to actuate and 37 thousandths over travel. Next, we're going to get out the bore cam and take a look down the bore. This is the Teslong NTG 100P rigid bore scope. This is USB. It's going to work with a phone, tablet, or here we're using a Windows 10 laptop with the inbuilt Windows camera app. And so this is a hard chrome barrel. So far looks about like what some of my other chrome line barrels. You know, I've got some like on the ARs and stuff like that.
They get a little bit of copper on them, do they?
Yeah, and a little bit of texture from that plating.
True.
Okay, so there's the throat transition. Looks nice and consistent. Very nice. That's the bore.
Let's go do some shooting.
Sounds like fun to me.
Alrighty.
Well, now's when things get fun, huh?
It is. This should be a blast, literally.
Nice, right in the center.
Up.
That's got some power, man.
It does. I shot 9 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's time for me to try.
I think you should do that. That's pretty awesome.
Oh, now I only have small targets up there, guy.
Sorry. That was deliberate. Nice.
You know, that's not bad. Whiffed that one. I got to take my time a little bit more. There we go. Well, that's a lot of fun.
Isn't it? I love that little rifle.
This thing is awesome. Let's do some chronograph, huh?
Yeah, we should do that. 357 Magnum Revolver.
Whoa.
.1200 feet per second with a 170. Nice.
ST-Dev of 18.7.
I can live with that.
Yeah, that's awesome. We've got 16 plus. Wow.
1690 or 1674 or 16
That's 1674 right there, yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Well, that was a lot of fun.
Oh man, this thing's great.
Yeah, it just feels good. And with that gold bead front sight with that sun behind us, man, that was stuck out just real obvious.
Picking it up on those steel targets just like that. Loved it. Yeah, I can't get over how much I like this little rifle.
A lot of people will note, if they've shot multiple brands, how slick the action is. And I felt like this one was really fast. Felt a little faster than the 30-30. I don't know if that's my imagination or not in terms of the total stroke of it.
There may be a difference in the travel of the lever.
Yeah.
I don't know. That'd be something for us to look at.
Sure, yeah. And let's talk about the ammo a little bit. So this HammerDown ammunition is specifically for lever guns. It was that collaboration between Federal Premium and Henry Repeating Arms, which is pretty cool to say, hey, 357 Magnum is great in this thing, but what if we up the performance a little bit and put a hunting bullet in there that's going to really work really well? Weight retention and expansion. you know?
Yeah, they talk about it being, not only is it 170 grains, which is pretty heavy for a 357 Magnum, but the bonded bullet that they're talking about, that should retain a lot of weight. It should expand well, penetrate decently. And boy, did we see some velocity.
We did. One minor note, any of the flat nose ammo or hollow points I've had with a lever gun, I've noticed it's a little trickier to load.
Yeah.
Because when that flat nose or the edge of the hollow point catches on, you know, the tube or whatever, you just push the base in a little bit to, you know, angle it a little bit more, it just pops right in. Once I learned that trick, I thought, you know.
Yeah, the round nose lever gun bullets tend to load a little smoother for me.
Yep, exactly. So yes, you said, what about that velocity? So we decided it'd be fun to compare my 6-inch 357 Magnum, that's a Smith & Wesson 586, a really beautiful blued revolver, really cool rig. 6-inch barrel versus 20-inch barrel. Now, what do they advertise on the box?
They are advertising a little over 1,600 feet per second, 1,610.
1,610. Okay, so with the revolver, we got an average velocity of 1,211, standard deviation of 18.7. I think the first 3 shots when the SD was like 3.3.
Sweet.
I was watching that roll by. Spread was 45, and then came the Henry big boy. And we had some big boy velocity here, 1652.4, right? We exceeded the velocity on the box.
Yes.
That's impressive.
It is. That's, you know, 1,600 feet per second.
With the 170?
With a 170, I'd
Yeah.
hunt with that.
Because normally 158 is your heavier bullet for 357.
Yeah, there have been 160s, 170s around for a while, but it's nice to use it.
Yeah. Standard deviation of 28.4 and a spread of 66. Plenty good velocity consistency, you know, for this type of application. So initially, I love it. You know, we put it through its initial paces. What should we do next, do you think? A lot of possibilities here.
Well, I'd like to try some real mellow 38 special ammo through it. I think that'd be even more fun. Maybe. This was awful fun. And then we try some different sighting options.
Well, definitely, yeah. We've got the scope base for it, the rail. And I'm thinking, again, the 1 to 6 would be maybe a really nice option, like the Hardline Pro Crimson Trace that we have on the X model. Maybe we'll just pop it over here and see how it does on this guy. I think that would be a great setup for the accuracy testing at 50.
I think so. We were having a little trouble with our eyeballs being able to see those 1-inch orange dots.
It helps to use the right targets. So.
It does.
Yeah.
And then I'd like to see if we could just try an aperture sight for the rear. See how we could do with that.
That sounds like a lot of fun. Different loads, you know, all sorts of different things. And again, this would be, I think, a great deer hunting rig.
I think so. You know, keeping in mind your range. You know, I'm not going to take a shot at 300 yards at a mule deer with this.
Right.
But if I'm stalking around in these hills out here with the forested and all that, yeah, absolutely.
50-yard shots.
You're not going to get a shot much over 75 yards. And I think this is light, easy to carry, accurate. I think we're good.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I think we have a lot more to do. We might be fighting over this thing for a while, right?
What a shame that we have to do more with this nice little rifle.
Yeah. Now, if you all have ideas for us, what we should attach this, you know, we have the hammer extension that'll go on nice with the scope. Any other accessories, upgrades, shooting scenarios, ammunition that you want us to test, drop a comment and we'll start that discussion. That concludes this video, and that means it's time to wrap it up. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up. Also, make your voice heard. If you have something to say, please drop a comment. Make sure you're subscribed with notifications because you're not going to want to miss the awesome content that is coming up. And finally, flex your reloading pride. You could look great in one of these t-shirts. We've got multiple designs at the Ultimate Reloader store. I'll see you later because I'm off to go shooting.